thank you for coming. I'm so glad to see you again here, and Kaveri, welcome. So I wanted to bring you here because I wanted to ask you, you have 3 children under the age of 12. And, it must have been hard for you to take them all into the house and start homeschooling and remote learning, right? For the past few, month and a half or so.
Yeah.
Can you share with me about your experience when the shock came that you have to have them all at home?
Well, honestly, I've never been the type that worries too much when a challenge is presented. So at the time, I didn't really think about it. I thought just go with the flow. And I think that would be so much easier than fighting what was coming at me. So I did go with the flow and figured as the days went by, the first day was chaos. Actually, the first week was chaos. The second week, I think everybody got more comfortable, the kids included. They knew when their times were. Like I would focus on my oldest, early in the morning, my middle child later in the day. So, then they can have different time slots and I can give them my undivided attention. The youngest, actually, I draw her in with my middle child because they're pretty, close in age, about a year and a half. So, although she's not in school just yet, but I'm thinking there's no harm if she learns it to me. So that's how we've managed so far.
And your situation is little unique. I'm separated and divorced. I had a son when I had to go through all of that, but I was in homeschooling or remote learning with him, right? So adjusting to co-parenting, because you're just in the midst of, figuring things out with your ex-partner and stuff, but now add in the COVID and homeschooling and remote learning on top of it and share the kids between 2 schools when things are not settled. It's extremely difficult, right? Because you don't know you haven't got the balance or figured out the schedules yet. So explain about how was that for you?
Well, I think definitely a bit overwhelming in the beginning, to be honest. But like I said, when it comes to, going with the flow, I think I try to do that the best I can. And I had to use external resources to help me with that process because, a lot of times, being separated or divorced for the first time, you have no idea. I'm not about to go on Facebook chats and, talk badly or do anything like that. So I think my resources, had to rely on different sources, lawyers and others that I knew or have been through these things. And, I come from a pretty traditional community where, you're not supposed to be talking about stuff like that. It's still my family. So, but I think pretty soon we should be in a better place where there is more balance as I see that coming in the future.
I can reassure you that you will have it because I've been through myself, right, with my son. And, in the beginning, it's like riding on a turbulence plane, right? It's shaky.
Yeah. Everything seems to be something you need to negotiate, go back, talk about it. I think more than anything, I'm always looking out for what the kids feel.
Yeah.
Because at the end of the day, it's not about me or my ex-partner or whoever. It's about the children and what they're going to go through.
Yeah.
So I think having that guide me is what I think helps me all the time.
Yeah, you must look at their faces. That's why it's always important to not let our issues between me or my ex, right, influence the way they grow, right? Because they can read us, they can sense our feelings, and they really, sometimes they don't share with us, but they notice. They really notice, right? Especially when they're young, they're looking at it. You being separated, you already know the difference. And then add communication problems and it becomes an issue.
Like I think my older 2 are good. They know. I think the one that I really watch out for is my youngest.
Yeah.
She was too young.
Yeah. So during this COVID, the biggest problem probably was establishing rules between two houses because they were young and having two different, going back and forth.
I tell you this, it's two different types of parenting.
Yeah, that's what I mean, right? So it's confusing.
I'm sure you've noticed or you've seen my kids, and you know that it's two completely different types of parenting skills.
Yeah, I think that's what a lot of parents who are co-parenting would notice, is that we have certain different rules and we value different things separate, right? That's why we're not together now anymore, right? If we were following the same thing, we would be together. The reason you separated is because you both have different things that are important to you, right? So I think in this situation, I found it with a lot of people that I know who are separated. They, even how much to go out. Some people stayed almost in, and the other families went out, right? If they went to the mother's house, they did something else, and if they went to the father's house, they did something else. So it was a bit of a clash, I think, for many parents, not just you. But you know what? As you said, go with the flow, and do what you can, and protect your kids, right?
Yeah,
that's the most.
I think both parents, their hope and aim is to protect the kid the best way they know it. It's just that the parenting skills are pretty different, and so then that causes that, the lack of balance, maybe.
Yeah. How would you say your kids' emotional, and I think a lot of kids are suffering from losing their friendship, having lost their structure, right? They don't have any school.
I think my kids are doing very well.
Yeah.
Yeah, they're doing pretty good. Yes, they do miss their friends, but overall, I don't see much of any changes. They're pretty happy.
Yeah, and they like being in the house. Like they're adjusting.
Oh, they love being in the house. They jump on the couch. That's their
trampoline. That's their trampoline.
That's where they jump on the couch. That's their trampoline. But also that's their safe zone. I recognize that, so I let them do it.
Yeah, they need to spend their energy, right?
Yeah. If they can, yeah, exactly.
So, would you say overall, if I was to ask you, would you send them back or keep them home, or what would their opinion be? Your kids go back or stay home and learn? If you were to ask
they've already told me they want to stay home.
They want to stay home. I've been talking to different families, and it's actually a mixed message now, because some people who thought they couldn't do it, they're finding it that this is working really well, and other people still.
But that just sent a message to my head that they might change when they know that their friends are coming
to school. Yeah. Kids are kids, right? They want their friends. Yeah. Even my son Jay. Same thing. One of the things he always been saying is I miss them, right? Because they used to, even playing at recess is a big deal for the kids, right?
Yeah.
The huge disappointing factor. Can't keep them all the time at home. So I'm looking forward to, as when I talked to you last time, we didn't know how things were going to change, but we're now seeing some changes. So hopefully soon the weather's getting better.
Yeah, that's beautiful.
With your experience over the past, almost month and a half or almost close to 2 months, what would you say good advice or something parents who are going through, separation, balance between two parents, keeping the children out of it, because you're in the midst of it, right?
Mm-hmm.
Your perspective, and what would you advise to keep it
for my kids?
No, just for another parent who might be another mom or dad who's going through this kind of situation, because
my advice would be to just go with the flow and do what works for your child, whether that be sending them to school or keeping them home. I think talk to your child. They're really your best teacher. They will tell you what they want, and there's just so much you can learn from your children.
Yeah, I think that's very important, listening to their voice, right?
Yeah.
During a situation like this, where you're in the midst of separation, and things are, there's some things that are hard to discuss. You always listen and make sure they're okay.
I do want to make a correction. I'm divorced. I'm very happy about it.
Oh yeah, you're divorced now.
I'm not separated anymore. I've
already. Awesome. 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 You're happily divorced.
I'm happily divorced.
Yes. Yes. I think it's the best if something doesn't work, look forward to a change and make the change work. Right?
Yeah. I mean, if I could have had it differently, it would have been great to be friends. But sometimes you don't, life doesn't always turn out the way you want it to. So holding on to outcomes is of no use. Sometimes you just got to move on.
Yeah. And with 3 kids at home, how did you balance? Like as you said you started off with your older son first, got him all covered in the morning time, right, and get him organized with work, and then the other 2 girls you did it in the afternoon.
Yeah, but that could vary. Because my girls are very different. They're very artistic. They're very creative. So they like to work on different things, and so I encourage them in that way. Again, I think it's all about listening to what your kids want to do.
Yeah. Did the teachers give you a lot of work, or did you have to find it? How did the school support?
Oh no, they laid out in the week.
Perfect.
Yeah, every week we get notices that we laid out.
Yeah, and then you just implemented it according to what worked for your.
And sometimes we do, and sometimes we do different things. And some teachers are okay with that, some are not. Like I said, you just got to go with the flow.
Yeah, exactly. Even if the kid is not wanting to do what needs to be done for tomorrow, and if it's too much for that day, that's I've always said do what you can, right? You have to do what you can.
As a behavioral interventionist, what would be your suggestion? I would love to hear.
To work with kids.
Yeah.
Same.
During this time.
I've been saying the same, and I told my son, and I have 2 other kids, right? Besides my son, my husband has 2 other kids. So what we decided to do was, if you were in school, even though it's like 6.5-6 hour long school, actual work time is like the extreme work time is only like 2.5-3 hours. So if they could put in their 2.5-3 hours, doesn't matter what they want it. If they can do that, that's enough for us. I'm not going to say you have to sit 6 hours and do your work. This is your hours of school. You have to sit and do your work. Like I actually became we were very flexible with our kids too. And, I told Jay, you can do how much ever you want in the morning, or like you structure it, what works for you. And I gave him a schedule and he filled it in and he took his break. And it's the way it went. I never said you have to sit down for 6 hours. That's not going to work. And I didn't do that. And in school, it's the same thing. We never have 6 hours of work because there's management of other kids, recess, lunch, all of that, right? That adds to all these activities you do. And you're going from class to class, all those things adds time. But that doesn't mean you were working 100%, right? I think Jay's been enjoying it too online, but one of the things he says he misses is his friends. Yeah, so he's looking
important.
Yeah. So I've been, even with other families, that's what I did. When I met with you and I gave you a schedule, right? And almost every one of the families I gave, they took that formula. It's a formula, but you have to adjust to what fits to your family.
Honestly, I couldn't really implement it because it was up and down, like it was different schedules. So I couldn't use one schedule for all 3 kids, and that's where it gets tricky. So I had to find my own that works for me.
That's what I'm saying. And yeah, exactly, because one doesn't fit everyone, right? One model doesn't fit. It's like
and I have 3 children with different interests. How do you beat that?
Yeah, and they want to do different things. They're active at different times. Some of one is wanting to do early morning, the other one will be active in the evening, right? So you got to choose that time. I think the people with I feel very, very hats off to them, because the ones who had 3-4 kids and under like smaller kids, right? Like our kids are 18 to 15 and 13, so they're like almost adults. they do what they had to do. They were if you
I'm actually, when you say that, I'm actually grateful that all my kids are at least close enough or going to school age, rather than when they were a lot more little and being home quarantined.
It was hard for younger because they needed complete monitoring too, right?
I definitely feel for families that having to do that. But I think a lot of my friends are coping so well.
Yeah. I guess whenever we are thrown into a change like this, all of a sudden, as you said, go with the flow. It's the best way, and find your balance and find what works for your family, and you'll find it very quickly, right? You'll find in a couple of days what's work and what doesn't work, and don't stress about it, and make sure that it works for your family. Like that's my message for every single people I've met before. So, anything else you want to add as a mom over this remote learning? What did you learn about your?
Don't be too hard on yourself.
Oh yeah.
And forgive if one day you get stuff done. You can always catch up today. You can catch up tomorrow. Sometimes my children say to me, "Okay, I just don't want to do it today, but I'll finish everything tomorrow." So I have to give them that. I'm also having to trust them. Right? It's showing that I trust that they can make that decision, even going forward.
It's important. It's every day is not same. You don't wake up every day feeling
oh my God, yes. Don't we have to work on that?
It's like one day is everything looks positive, and next day sometimes everything looks negative. But that's because we're in a changing environment, right? So uncertainty doesn't give you that. Right? But I think we all did really well, if you think about it.
Yes, I think everybody has done pretty, a really good job. Yeah.
Like even earlier, I met another mom for an interview, and she was telling me, like, it's important to understand how, like, if you don't have any health problem, and you weren't in frontline workers and stuff like that, you should be thankful that you're still. Right? It could have been worse, right? So
yes,
you have to take it as a blessing and be thankful.
Yes.
So
no, I think everybody's grateful right now, and it is a blessing to just have what you do. So yeah, I think I'm grateful.
I think one of the other thing I wanted to ask you is about, you believe in some deep work, right? Internal work. You do some transformational work. One of the things I've been telling people is that this is like a pause. This change, what happened to all of us around the world is like a pause. Like I felt like myself, I was like on some kind of speed of light or something. I was traveling and I needed to get to somewhere, but I don't have that speed anymore. I kind of stopped. What do you feel about that?
I have a beautiful quote that I can use to express that. The past is history. Present is a gift. The future is still unknown. So use your present.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah, that is a good advice.
Right?
Yeah. This moment is yours. Yeah.
It's all you've got. Make the most of it, and I think do what works best for your family.
Yeah. I'm so happy to hear you've done a good job with your kids, right, over these past 5 or 6 weeks. I know how hard it is, and with the situation that you were going through and stuff. So I'm really, really happy that you survived that. You can do anything.
I think children are a gift. They are a blessing. They can pull you through anything in life. So I guess they're my strength. And I guess for all mothers and all families, really.
Yeah, I think so. And even do you feel like this time has brought you closer to them even more?
Oh, I've always been close to my kids. We communicate a lot all the time.
What about
definitely
like, closer, but because we've spent so much time more than we would have.
Yes, in that sense, yes. I think spending time with them now more than I could have had, and I'm grateful for that time. I know it'll never come back. Maybe I'm grateful COVID happened in at this stage in their life, when you get to spend more time with your kids. Yeah.
We would have never had that chance, right? This is
No, I don't think any other generation would have had this chance, but we did.
yeah. So I'm also taking it as a gift to pause and rethink of a lot of stuff and spend quality time. I really appreciate you coming and talking to me today. Thank you so much.
Thank you, Koginla.
Thank
And
you.
I am honored to be interviewed by you.